Picturesque Austrian Grand Prix coming to the Styrian Mountains and the A1 ring. Last season saw Robert Kubica win the race for Guy Racing. Jenson Button took second ahead of Bruno Senna in third place. It seems to be a good circuit for Robert Kubica and he'll be looking to do well for FJR here. Pit stop predictions. Most of the field will be planning 2 stops and some will be planning 3. Nobody will consider the 1-stop strategy. It's a very simple circuit, this one, only 9 corners. And Nico Rosberg certainly seemed to go well, topping the Q1 timesheets ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Guy Racing failed to qualify for the last race at Silverstone, and a switch to the soft tyres has helped them. FJI didn't feature that high up the order, but they make it through into the race. Andy Racing failed to make it through, first time since the Spanish Grand Prix, and for 4 races in a row, Dodgem also failed to qualify. So in Q2, a brilliant lap from Sebastian Vettel puts him on pole position, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, the runaway championship leader now. He's 23 points ahead of the next guy. Rosberg is in third, ahead of Mark Webber in the Autodynamics. Good effort from him on these super soft tyres. Both GRMs make the top 8, also on the super softs. The team particularly struggling here though is FJR. Whether that's the medium tyres or a lack of top line speed, possibly due to the removal of KERS, they're 20th and 22nd, so they've got a lot of making up to do in the race. So the 5 lights are on, 71 laps of Austria, 5 lights are out. And Vettel's got an absolute shocker of a start there, but he's just managed to hold on. Now we've seen collisions into the first corner here. Hamilton's coming up alongside. And we got a spinner at the back. That looked like an FJR. And big carnage there. We got a car upside down. I can't see who that is. Marc Genet's out and an FJR goes through without a front wing. No doubt we'll be seeing just a lot of replays on that, but that is a scary incident, and before they'd even reached the braking zone, we got Barrichello with the Shannon up his inside. There's Kimi Räikkönen, and Jenson Button's out of the race for Tornado. The current world champion, 4th in the championship. Here we've got Fernando Alonso taking Heikki Kovalainen for 10th place. Massa's still in it, so I think it was Kubica without a front wing, and there's another driver without a front wing, Christian Klein. The man that finished 3rd at the Silverstone race. But we saw a car upside down and whacking the barrier. So that was either Genet or Jenson Button. It looked like Button that was upside down, but we'll have to see. Sebastian Bourdais has got a queue of cars behind him, and Barrichello is being pressured by Alonso for 9th place. So an all-action first lap, but it's Lewis Hamilton in the lead. Look at the straight line speed of the AJ. And Bourdais has just been passed by Buemi. And we have got Felipe Massa still in the race, sir. And here come the repair jobs. We've got Klein and Kubica. So already the race has not gone well for FJR. Mark Webber is in 3rd place on the super soft tyres, so he's had a good start. As Bourdais is pressured by Räikkönen. And there we got Glock overtaking Heikki Kovalainen. So shake and bakes. Where did Glock qualify? He's only qualified 12th place. And Räikkönen has just taken Bourdais. into the only one of two proper left-handers on this circuit. Alonso having a look at Kobayashi and up the inside into the Jochen Rindt curve. And then the A1 curve onto the start-finish straight. Timo Glock is pressuring Kobayashi into turn 1, and he looks to have got it just on the slipstream. More action behind. We've got Kovalainen being pressured by Massa as we now go on board with Kimi Räikkönen into the left-hander. I think this is the Lauda curve, named after legendary F1 champion Niki Lauda, and this is the Gerhard Berger curve, winner of the first ever FF1M race, and that was in fact his only win. This is when it was in the Masters era, the first race at Phoenix. He was driving for A Racing at the time. He finished second ahead of Mika Häkkinen in the FJR when they were originally called FJ's Fast Squad. Fortunately, the team name has improved since then. Alonso taking Buemi for 6th place, and Massa's got Rubens Barrichello. And both JRMs dropping like a stone as Bourdais has dropped out of the top positions. Now, let's have a look at the start from Robert Kubica's perspective. Had a good start. And look at that. That must have been Genet. And a car rolling, which was Button. The sheer ferocity of the impact pushes him over to the inside barrier. So that was actually Genet. We look at it from Button's perspective. He got an awful start. He got blocked. And he got shunted from behind and started rolling. And that's how he ended up on the inside wall. This must be Genet. Ah, it was an AJ that shunted Genet. That must have been Klein. And that obviously caused a chain reaction. So Button, completely innocent victim, as was Kubica. Back to the action, and Räikkönen passing Rosberg. We got a shake and bake up the inside of Alonso, but to no avail for Glock. But Glock much faster than many of the cars. Shake and bake's definitely the fastest car this weekend. Hamilton leading by 8.1 seconds. Now it's 10.0 from Vettel as they start lap 6. Webber holding on to 3rd place ahead of Räikkönen. And that's a late one from Glock, just about avoiding contact with Rosberg, but he's got past ahead of Alonso for 6th place. Now he's going to do the same thing to Rosberg into turn 2, but Rosberg shuts him off. And now Alonso's looking to try and get him back. This is a tremendous fight for 5th place. And look ahead, Webber is becoming under pressure from Kimi Räikkönen. Glock up the inside now into the Gosser curve, turn 3. Now the turn 4, which is nothing. And then the two left-handers, Lauda and Berger. And Glock looks as if he's got the legs on Rosberg now. His next aim is Webber and Räikkönen, who are battling away. Räikkönen's having a look into the Jochen Rindt curve, outbraking him. That's 3rd place for Räikkönen. Now he's going to catch up to Vettel, or at least try to. Räikkönen on the mediums, so he should be able to catch Vettel. Remember that the mediums are the most favoured race tyre. He needs to... And Hamilton has a problem. That's electronics on his steering wheel that are indicating an unscheduled stop. So, Lewis on the back foot, so he's having to readjust his strategy. He had 15 laps of fuel, so he'll top it up a little bit to 20, so that will... He is on a 3-stop strategy, but his strategy has been compromised a bit. Not as much fuel taken in, but with fresh tyres he should be able to claw his way back. It just depends on where he rejoins. He doesn't want to rejoin in the thick of traffic. won't have had a bigger... It's 10th place for Hamilton. He's got it to do as Vettel takes the lead. Massa challenging Kobayashi for 8th place. He's dummied him up the inside into turn 2. This is the Remus curve, which is the slowest on the circuit. And straight away Lewis Hamilton all over the Japanese's gearbox. Into the Gosser curve. And that's 9th position for Hamilton. And immediately on the back of Massa. So Hamilton was on a 3-stop strategy. He just had to make it earlier than usual due to an electronics problem. Into the Rindt curve. And Massa holds on. He'll have a look into the Castrol curve, turn 1. And shake and bake, well, it just looks absolutely glued to the road, and it's absolutely perfect to drive. So in the points goes Hamilton. Although looking at this, Massa's not given up just yet. Hamilton really need to defend a little bit, but now he's pulled away on traction. So let's recap the order so far. Lap 9, it's Vettel leading from Raikkonen, Glock, Alonso, Webber, Rosberg, Buemi and Hamilton. Hamilton's next victim is Buemi, and already he's closing up. He's 1.7 behind on the start of this lap, and that gap has shrunk to nothing immediately. But Hamilton is on the 3-stop strategy, so he'll have compromised it a little bit compared to some of the other runners, but that's 7th place. Just about keeping it on the road there in the final corner. Next target, Nico Rosberg. I think he was the pole sitter for Silverstone. To double check that, and no, he wasn't. Rubens Barrichello was his pole sitter for Silverstone. Mark Webber's having a good afternoon for the Autodynamics, holding on to 5th place. I do suspect he is on a 3-stop strategy though, because the super softs don't seem to be affecting him as much as the GRMs. Here we've got Felipe Massa on the medium tyres, challenging Buemi on the soft tyres for 8th place. So Massa looking good for some points, despite the horrendous qualifying for FJR. Having a look on the inside into the Rindt curve, but nothing of it. Now Hamilton's on Rosberg's gearbox. Pulling out of the gearbox and into turn 1. He's got him under braking, has he? Yes, he has. 6th place for Hamilton. Next target, Mark Webber. And Massa's got Buemi for 8th into the same corner at exactly the same time. It looks like Buemi's got Kobayashi behind him. The lead that Vettel has got is coming down to 3 seconds. So Raikkonen on the charge, but closing on both is Timo Glock in the other shake and bake. So Vettel looks to be becoming under pressure. All sitter for this race. And just look at the gap already. It was 2.7 seconds on the first sector. It's already gone down to 1.3. Webber is going to be easy meat for Lewis. Meanwhile, the gap has gone down to 1.9 between Vettel and Raikkonen. And look, already Hamilton is in the slipstream of Webber. Webber defending a little bit, but Hamilton up the inside now. He's got him into turn 1, his favourite overtaking place. Next target, Alonso in the AJ. And Alonso on the soft tyres. So similarly easy prey. But there is a 5.3 second gap between Alonso and Hamilton. So he's got a few laps to go to make that up. Timo Glock has got Raikkonen right in front of him, having a look into the left-hand kink, but nothing on the inside now. Glock has got second place. Bruno Senna's out of the race with a suspension issue, but Timo Glock has made an important move. And now he's going to have a go at Sebastian Vettel for the lead of the race in short time. Sebastian Bourdais out of the race. Reliability problems continue for GRM. Yellow flag's out. Presume that's either Senna or Bourdais. But now Glock is on Vettel. And look at the straight line speed of the shake and bake. Vettel feints a bit to the middle, but Glock up the inside into turn 1. Just about avoiding contact. And as soon as these trios start battling, the rest of the field will close up. Fernando Alonso only 8.5 seconds behind these three. And Lewis Hamilton only 9.4 behind all 4 of them. Vettel feeling the need to just move his car at turn 3. And Glock right behind. Will he have a look into the Niki Lauda curve? He will. Up the inside and through into the lead goes Timo Glock. Vettel's tyres are going off. Glock's mediums are hanging on nicely. And now Vettel has got Kimi Raikkonen to watch out for. The Jochen-Rindt curve, then the A1 curve. And Raikkonen in the slipstream of Vettel. It's Antonio Liuzzi's out of the race with the puncture. They're beginning to drop like flies. Raikkonen up the inside into turn 1. Nearly contact, but not quite. And Hamilton looking to make the move on Alonso into the turn 1 and not managing it. Alonso had been catching Vettel now as well. Rosberg and Massa is dropping back. He's got a problem. He's in the pits even. So he's one of the few on a 3-stop strategy. Should see him charge through come the end of the race with better tyres. And Timo Glock has been going quite slowly through that corner, but I think it's fine. Now, will he peel off into the pits? He will do. So this looks like a 3-stop strategy. And Vettel got Raikkonen right behind him. Into turn 1. Vettel leads another lap. And now he's going to lose that lap to Raikkonen. As Kimi Raikkonen takes the lead. Fernando Alonso in third, now in third place. Still in third place. Hamilton couldn't make the move stick. So Fernando Alonso is proving to be a much more difficult target to overtake. Some battling between Kobayashi and another driver. I'm not sure which other driver it was. It was Timo Glock. As Glock has moved up into 8th place. And Webber hanging on in 5th place. Maybe he is on a 2-stop. So Autodynamics have a quick car underneath in the hands of Webber. Just see how long Hamilton is off the throttle for as he follows Alonso. Alonso goes through for another lap, as do Raikkonen and Vettel. Hamilton pulls out. Can he make the move this time? Have to brake very late in order to do so, but no, Alonso hangs on again. Very gritty, determined performance from Alonso. He started 11th on the grid. He had a strong race in Silverstone as well until a puncture ruined his race. In fact, both AJs were very strong in Silverstone. They both started 18th and 19th, but they made their way up neatly through the order. McLean eventually finished on the podium. second of AJ's season so far, as Alonso secured a podium in Malaysia. And I think Raikkonen is pitting, as Vettel has retaken the lead, and there it is, Raikkonen in the pits. This could be another three-stopper, and Alonso pushing Hamilton to the pit wall, and this could end in tears, but no, Hamilton braking hard and early to avoid an accident. So Alonso getting a bit more feisty on the defence that time. Both AJs have the same amount of points and the exact same finishes. Alonso's had a third and a fifth, and so has Clean. That's quite interesting to know how evenly matched the two have been. Other teammate battles as well. Felipe Massa is quite a way ahead of Kubica. Both drivers have a podium each. Massa scored a third in Canada and Kubica scored a third in Bahrain, but still a very disappointing season for FJR, in particular Robert Kubica, who is expected to shine. Vettel goes through and starts another lap, lap 20. Alonso and Hamilton continue their fierce battle. Hamilton, no, he still can't do it. He's going to have to be on, might have to be on the pit stops because he's proving very difficult to overtake. Rosberg in 5th place being challenged by Timo Glock. Glock made an early pit stop. And that's 5th place for Glock. Meanwhile, Kobayashi is battling with Raikkonen for 7th. Raikkonen losing a lot of time behind the Pedersen. Lucas Di Grassi. Oh, dearie me! That was behind Kovalainen, who's going really, really slowly. And Kovalainen just turned into him. That was disgusting driving. He shunted Di Grassi out of the race. I don't know if Kovalainen was trying to pull off or anything, but either mistimed it or just rage quitted. Poor driving nonetheless, and Hamilton's got Alonso into the Lauda curve. So he's found a way at a different part of the circuit to the normal. Timo Glock is just going to power past Mark Webber for 4th place. So maybe Webber's tyres have gone off completely now. And Glock is on new tyres, of course. Vettel pits from the lead. So this is going to move Hamilton back into the lead. Vettel will have fresh tyres, but can he use them? Pulling into his pit garage. Compared against his teammate, Vettel has dominated Di Grassi. Even though Di Grassi did score 1 point in Melbourne, that's the only point that he's actually scored. It's a long stop for Vettel, so he is the two-stopper. 14.2 seconds. Other teammate battles, Buemi has dominated Trulli, and Trulli is a 3-time champion, of course. Hamilton in the pits again. This is for his 2nd stop, and Trulli pits for Mitchell. So this is his 2nd stop after his unscheduled one only 7 laps in. So let's see how long this stop is. It'll be longer because they only put only a few seconds of fuel at the first round. 14.4 is the stop. And there is Vettel. He's rejoined behind Hamilton. Hamilton's got ahead of Vettel. And a big blown engine for Fernando Alonso. That's another disappointment. Reliability proving a little bit tricky for AJ. Felipe Massa moves up to 5th place. And so Timo Glock in the lead on lap 34. He's 16.1 seconds ahead of Raikkonen as Glock makes his second stop with 38 laps to go. Probably rejoined behind Hamilton. Hamilton was only 17 seconds behind Timo. Timo Glock 28 points behind Hamilton in the championship. Hamilton has had 5 wins compared to the 1 of Timo Glock. Raikkonen has had 2 wins and Button has had 1, which came at the San Marino Grand Prix. So 13.2 seconds stop for Glock. 3 stopping Glock out of the pits. In third place, behind Raikkonen and Hamilton. And here are Raikkonen and Hamilton is closing the gap. Coming up to lap Christian Klien. Raikkonen's only made 1 pit stop, as Felipe Massa pits from 5th place for his second stop, so he is a 3-stopper. But Hamilton 3 stopping, Raikkonen only 1 so far. So both these two only have 1 more pit stop to make. Sebastian Buemi makes a pit stop. And on the fresher tyres, Hamilton looks as if he has got the measure of Raikkonen. Can he do it into turn 1? Know how quick this shake and bake is in a straight line. Gonna have a look into turn 1, they better be careful, they have touched! No damage done, but it was a bit of a late decision from Hamilton. He decided to let off brakes a little bit in the hope that Raikkonen would see him. He did, but contact was still made. We'll see how much time Glock has made up on these two. It was 13.9 and we just lost the graphic there. Well, the gap so far is 14.1 seconds between Glock and Raikkonen. So at this stage I am expecting Glock to be closing in on Hamilton, because Glock does have 10 laps fresher tyres. In fact, Raikkonen in the pits, and that delayed Hamilton a little bit. Raikkonen making another pit stop. Be interesting to see how long the stop is if he is going all the way at the end. It is possible to do so. Up the car goes on the jacks. Now, how long is this stop? That's not a that is. He's going to have to stop again, so this puts the race right in the shake and bake's hands. Now Raikkonen just needs to push like mad. Out of the pits he comes. I think he'll rejoin behind Vettel. Yes, he does. In 4th place. Just going round the first corner. Oh, Massa's blown up. FJ need to sort this car out. It's been nothing short of unreliable. And anyway, moving on now. That is Raikkonen behind Vettel now for 3rd place into the Jochen-Rindt curve. And Vettel shutting the door very firmly on him. Now can he have a look into turn 1? He's on the inside. And that's a position gain for Kimi Raikkonen. Now he's going to push like mad because he's got fresher tyres at the moment. And Glock is closing the gap on Hamilton. Hamilton making a pit stop, 22 laps to go. So Glock will retake the lead until his 3rd pit stop. so it's 12.6 seconds. Just look in the distance, you can just see a mountain there. That's the sort of scenery, the beautiful scenery that the A1 ring has got surrounding the circuit. Hitting top speed. In third place is Hamilton. Hitting top speed again as he approached the Gosser curve, turn 3. I think that's Raikkonen ahead. Just a quick mention for the rest of the field. Kobayashi's moved up to 5th place, so I think he still has another pit stop to make. Wemi is in 6th place. That's a Mitchell, that's not a Tornado that Hamilton's coming up. That was Raikkonen. And here we look at Raikkonen, 23.2 seconds behind Glock as he goes through turn 3. And Kobayashi has made another pit stop because he's dropped out. That'll move Buemi into 5th place ahead of Christian Klein. In 6th, Klein has had a terrific fight back after his loss of front wing earlier in the race. Mark Webber is in 7th place ahead of Nico Rosberg in 8th place. And into the pits comes Raikkonen for his final stop. Through this pointless little chicane, and into his pit box goes Kimi Raikkonen. Down the car goes, and it's an 11.2 pit stop for Raikkonen. It looks as if he has got 3rd place cemented, just depends if he rejoins ahead of Vettel or not. I might be wrong actually, Vettel was a minute behind Glock. Out of the pits comes Raikkonen, and he's still 3rd. So at the moment it is Timo Glock in the lead, with only a few laps to go. So we're looking at Raikkonen coming up to lap Kubica in that's not Kubica, that's Rosberg. Rosberg in 8th place, and a lap down on the 2 shake and bakes. Glock yet to make his final pit stop, and Hamilton is closing in on him. So if it stays like this, then Hamilton will extend his lead in the championship. Glock coming around turn 3. He's on lap 56 with another pit stop to make. I think he's going to make it this lap. The camera is focusing on him, so he needs to push hard on this in lap. And then he'll rejoin 2nd, that's no doubt about that. It just depends on if he can catch up to Hamilton, who is on the older tyres and will begin to struggle for grip towards the end. But barring any misfortune, it looks like it's going to be another shake and bake 1-2. Glock actually started 12th on the grid after it was a closely matched field. I mean, the top 16 were covered by less than a second, so it is a short lap round here. The pole time was a 1 minute 7.001 from Vettel, and he in fact was a quarter of a second quicker than Hamilton, who had matched Nico Rosberg, but Hamilton had set the time first, so he got to start ahead of Rosberg. The whole field were covered by 1.6 seconds from first down to 20 seconds, so just tells you how close the racing is. In the news this week, the sponsorship deals have come through, and unfortunately, despite declaring that there will be racing in 2010, SF1 haven't got a sponsor. This is down to the new AFIA rules that 11 teams will participate next season, which will eliminate pre-qualifying. The team that we're looking at now, Shake and Bake, have signed Patronus, so we'll be expecting silver cars for the Yorkshire team. E-Racing have signed Santander as their sponsor. Tornado sticking with Vodafone. And GRM have signed Red Bull, so they'll be alongside Andy Racing in Red Bull sponsored teams. Shannon have signed Virgin. Autodynamics have signed Phillips. Mitchell sticking with the Kingfisher livery. Dark Wolf the Green Air Asia livery, and FGR have become a bit more modest, having signed the Sauber livery. Should be the same colour scheme as their current Patronus livery. It's just less sponsors on the car. So on this final stint, Glock has not managed to reel in Hamilton. Hamilton looking set for victory despite his brief electronic glitch in the first stint. So even if your race hadn't gone perfectly, if you're Lewis Hamilton, it's still going to go pretty well. Rounding the final two corners, and rounding the final corner, Lewis Hamilton takes another victory. Romping away with the championship now is extended, and Mark Webber, 2 laps down, taking 6th place. So it's a great result for Autodynamics. Started 4th and finished 6th. That's a good effort for them. Shake and Bake 1-2, ahead of Kimi Räikkönen 3rd, so damage limitation pretty much for the Finn. Vettel comes home 4th, which is a good result considering that he failed to qualify in the last race. Clean 5th for AJ, so gritty fight back from him. You can see 29 points between Hamilton and Räikkönen. Glock closing the gap between himself and Räikkönen. And having failed to score, Jenson Button feeling a little bit of pressure from Vettel in 4th place. And just failing to make the points. Well, in fact, he retired, but FGR failed to score, and they are now tied with Guy Racing for 3rd. So it's not looking good for them. That looks to be an error in the championship because GRM somehow have less points and they're ahead of Pedersen. But anyway, Shake and Bake, 7 wins, 60 points ahead. And we'll see you for the next race in Hockenheim.